but the desire to protect or avenge loved ones can be a powerful motivator. In one case, an inmate attacked another inmate after learning that the man had threatened his family on the outside. The fight was fueled by a deep sense of loyalty and protectiveness, and it left both men seriously injured. The incident served as a reminder that even in prison, the bonds of family can drive individuals to extreme acts of violence. 65. The use of technology in prison fights is a growing concern, with some inmates using smuggled devices to coordinate attacks or spread propaganda. In one case, an inmate used a smuggled cell phone to record a fight and send the footage to a rival gang on the outside. The video was used to incite further violence, both inside and outside the prison, and it left authorities struggling to contain the fallout. The incident highlighted the challenges of controlling technology in an increasingly connected world. 66. The role of addiction in prison fights is another important factor, with some inmates using drugs or alcohol to numb their pain or fuel their aggression. In one case, an inmate high on methamphetamine attacked another inmate in a fit of paranoia, believing that the man was plotting against him. The fight was chaotic and unpredictable, with the high inmate lashing out wildly before being subdued by guards. The incident highlighted the need for better addiction treatment in prisons, but resources remain scarce. 67. The use of language in prison fights is a powerful tool, with some inmates using insults, threats, or coded language to provoke their opponents or rally their allies. In one case, a fight broke out after one inmate used a racial slur against another. The fight was fueled by deep-seated prejudices and a desire to defend one's honor, and it left both men seriously injured. The incident served as a reminder that in prison, words can be just as dangerous as weapons. 68. The role of mental health in prison fights is often overlooked, but inmates with untreated mental illnesses may be more prone to violence or paranoia. In one case, an inmate with bipolar disorder attacked another inmate during a manic episode, believing that the man was a threat. The fight was chaotic and unpredictable, with the mentally ill inmate lashing out wildly before being subdued by guards. The incident highlighted the need for better mental health care in prisons, but resources remain scarce. 69. The use of space in prison fights is a strategic consideration, with inmates often choosing locations where they can maximize their advantage or minimize the risk of intervention. In one case, a fight broke out in a narrow hallway, where one inmate used the confined space to trap his opponent and deliver a series of brutal blows. The fight was short but intense, leaving the victim with serious injuries and the perpetrator with a reputation for cunning and ruthlessness. 70. The role of reputation in prison fights is crucial, with inmates often fighting to protect or enhance their standing within the prison hierarchy. In one case, an inmate challenged another to a fight after hearing rumors that the man had insulted him behind his back. The fight was fueled by a desire to defend one's honor and maintain respect, and it left both men bloodied and bruised. The incident served as a reminder that in prison, reputation is everything. 71. The use of alliances in prison fights is a common tactic, with inmates often banding together to take on a common enemy. In one case, a group of inmates ganged up on a rival, using their numbers to overwhelm him and deliver a brutal beating. The fight was motivated by a desire to assert dominance and send a message to others, and it left the victim with serious injuries. The incident highlighted the power of alliances in a world where strength in numbers often determines survival. 72. The role of fear in prison fights is a powerful motivator, with some inmates using intimidation to control their enemies or avoid conflict altogether. In one case, an inmate spread rumors about his violent past, causing others to fear him and avoid confrontation. When a fight finally broke out, the inmate used his reputation to his advantage, quickly subduing his opponent and solidifying his dominance. The incident served as a reminder that in prison, fear can be just as effective as physical force. 73. The use of deception in prison fights is a common tactic, with some inmates using lies or manipulation to gain an advantage over their opponents. In one case, an inmate pretended to befriend another inmate, only to turn on him during a fight and deliver a surprise attack. The fight was fueled by betrayal and a desire to assert dominance, and it left the victim with serious injuries. The incident highlighted the importance of trust, and the consequences of misplaced loyalty, in a world where deception is often the norm. 74. The role of luck in prison fights cannot be underestimated, with some inmates surviving brutal encounters simply by being in the right place at the right time. In one case, an inmate was saved from a potentially deadly fight when guards intervened at the last moment. The incident served as a reminder that in prison, survival often depends on factors beyond one's control, and that even the most prepared individuals can fall victim to chance. 75. The use of strategy in prison fights is a key factor in determining the outcome, with some inmates using careful planning and tactics to outmaneuver their opponents. In one case, an inmate lured his rival into a secluded area under the pretense of a truce, only to ambush him with a group of allies. The fight was short but brutal, leaving the rival with serious injuries and the perpetrator with a reputation for cunning and ruthlessness. The incident highlighted the importance of strategy in a world where brute force is not always enough. 76. The long-term impact of prison fights extends beyond the individuals involved, affecting the entire prison system and society as a whole. Inmates who survive these brutal encounters often carry the scars, both physical and emotional, for the rest of their lives, while those who do not leave behind grieving families and a legacy of violence. The cycle of retribution and violence perpetuated by prison fights serves as a stark reminder of the need for reform. But in a system where resources are limited and tensions run high, change is often slow to come. Until then, the savage fights that determine who survives will continue to be a grim reality of prison life. 77. The role of prison gangs in orchestrating fights cannot be overstated, as these groups often use violence to maintain control over territory, resources, and influence. In one case, a gang leader ordered a hit on a rival gang member, resulting in a brutal fight that left the target dead and the perpetrator facing a life sentence. The fight was not just about personal animosity, but about sending a message to other gangs and solidifying the leader's power. The incident highlighted the extent to which gang politics drive violence within the prison system. 78. The use of psychological warfare in prison fights is a common tactic, with inmates often trying to break their opponent's spirits before the physical confrontation even begins. In one case, an inmate spread rumors that his rival had been sexually assaulted, causing the man to become a pariah among the prison population. When the fight finally occurred, the victim was already mentally defeated, and the aggressor easily overpowered him. The incident served as a grim reminder of the power of psychological manipulation in a world where reputation is everything. 79. The role of prison staff in preventing fights is often undermined by systemic issues such as understaffing, corruption, and lack of training. In one case, a fight broke out in a cell block that was supposed to be under constant surveillance, but the guards were distracted and failed to intervene until it was too late. The fight left one inmate dead and several others injured, sparking outrage among the prison population and calls for accountability. The incident highlighted the need for better training and resources for prison staff to prevent such tragedies. 80. The long-term consequences of prison fights extend beyond the immediate physical injuries, often leading to a cycle of violence that perpetuates itself. In one case, an inmate who had been severely beaten in a fight later sought revenge by orchestrating an attack on his assailant. The retaliatory fight was even more brutal than the first, leaving both men with permanent injuries and further destabilizing the prison environment. The incident served as a stark reminder of the cyclical nature of violence in a system where retribution is often the only form of justice.